We will look at the death of the assassination of Dr. Mbayi. He, an expert in constitution, which occurred at Adams Arcade. When I was still in active service, I was in charge of a desk, criminal intelligence and intertribal tension, where I had access to all the files. I would even seek for the file from political desk, and I was up to tally with a lot of issues. But after I left service, I could not access the files, but I used to meet my colleagues who would verbally brief me. And when they are briefing me, usually it was so brief. I could not access files, and human intelligence gathering is risky, especially if you're handling a fellow intelligence officer, because he may get an impression that you are really chasing a certain issue. But when you are still in active service and you have access to files, nobody will notice that you are reading one file regularly, or you are spending a lot of time on one file. Around the time when Dr. Mbayi died, I had featured in a few commissions, and I had also featured in the press, and so there was a word that went down that intelligence officers should avoid me. So my connection in both written and verbal was having a problem, especially whenever I could be quoted in the intelligence, and the seniors started believing that my former colleagues who were still in active service were briefing me. So you are seen with me, and I talk of something that is near the sun, they think it is you who talked. But all the same, as they say that when a police officer retires or leaves services, he's still a police officer. It is only the uniform and certificate of appointment that is taken away. So you still have the know-how. When we start to study Dr. Mbayi, we start with the selection of commissioners. Various commissions, IEBC or whatever, or even a commission to amend our constitution. The mistake we usually do is that political parties insist that they do select. Now they agree that a certain political leaning selects, let's say, 2 members, the other one 2, such and such. But in my view, we should select people who are neutral in vision, because nobody can be truly neutral. But he's so neutral that you cannot, just by looking at him, unless you know him personally, he's so neutral that you can never tell his political leaning. Now, Dr. Mbayi was placed there by Raila. We have had several constitutional changes, most of which are attempts. Only one succeeded, the 2010. But in Kenya, we do not have political leanings, people. In fact, 99.99% of Kenyans are social democrats. We do not have any different changes in political ideology at all, at all. Our political ideology is whatever they say, that people who think the same. It is centered about tribes and individuals. So what people usually do in attempting to change the constitution or even retain it, then it is a fight of egos, so that when you win, whether having the constitution changed or not changed, is to have you a springing ground to the next level. Also, and lastly, concerning constitution amendments, some of these constitutions are made like the BBI, the section where it talks about creating 5 positions. It is measured in such a way that it is there to create 5 kings or 5 tribal leaders who will join together and make it to the government. As I said, Mbayi was nominated to that place to take the interest of Raila Amolo Odinga. And he really fought to make sure that a constitution is made which at the end of the day will reflect that Raila has won the amendment. This brought about a lot of threats on his life, real and imagined, both real and imagined. As I said before, after leaving work, it was hard for me to countercheck things, and I think all the political assassinations that occurred when I was still in service are contained in a book that at the time of recording this had yet to be published. But this YouTube channel I'm using to comment on political assassinations of people when I had left service, which is not contained in my book. But I find it a bit of a challenge, because when you come to Dr. Mbayi's assassination, it becomes a bit difficult because I could not tie the loose ends. And subsequent political assassinations, I had already learned how to live by that. Of interest to know about Mbayi's death, assassination, we have to look at his culture. He comes from a culture where a man, when he wants to do a project, his wife's involvement is very minimal. It is the lakeside. But when you find a place like the mountain, the woman is the power behind the scene. You'll find that when you deal with a man from the mountain, a business deal, and he tells you that give me time to think, he is not going to think. He is going to consult his wife. So, when you want to understand Mbayi's death, look at, he had some plots in Kayole or somewhere in Eastlands. But on this particular day, he decided to have his wife go and supervise it. He was not sick, he was not whatever. He decided to remain in the house and read the newspapers. That is good to understand about his death. If it is a Kikuyu, it's okay. But if it is somebody from the lake, he would have done the donkey work. And when the wife left, those who killed Dr. Mbayi, there was only one lady who was there, who came to see, who saw the killers. She had an optical problem like me. We myopia people don't see well without glasses on. I'm trying to see a situation where this lady is a wife to somebody from a political leanings that is different from Mbayi's. Mbayi's wife goes away to inspect the plots, and somebody's wife is there. I'm also trying to see it a situation. The daughter by then was studying at the university, and she had spare keys to the house. So she came with a taxi at night and went upstairs to sleep. So when Mbayi woke up in the morning, he never knew that the daughter was around. He thought he was around. Could it be possible that he was meeting this lady from the other camp? Then there is the case of the lady's husband who had been issued with a pistol. Could the killers of Mbayi have used this man's pistol to kill him? Because shortly after, this man's pistol mysteriously disappeared. There is an allegation that along Gong Road at the burial place, he was there seated and some gangs came and snatched the gun from him. Other allegations are that the gun was thrown into Nairobi Dam, so the gun disappeared, meaning that there is no way we can prove forensically that the gun was used to kill Mbayi. After he was shot, the gentleman came with his vehicle to rush him to the hospital. But when he noticed the vehicle of this other man, he was hesitant. You see, I'm trying to reason two ways. One, I'm trying to see it from politically, and I'm also trying to see about, if you see a lot of political assassination, there is a lot of mambo ya wanawake hapo. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Then there was a police reservist. This police reservist appeared immediately. And if you want to understand the work of police reservists, I will only give you two. Patrick Shaw was a police reservist. Waiganjo was a police reservist. These are people who handle guns. These are people who are very close. They are policemen without a salary. Part-time policemen. That is the legal thing. A police reservist came. He immediately cleaned the scene so that he was trying to remove all forensic. And then this policeman, this police reservist was shot and killed. So he went with the truth. And then lastly, there is this angle of the watchman. They were staying somewhere in Kawangware. Now this watchman also, he's said to have been, the watchman who was guarding there said to have hired people to come and rob this place, because he told them that this home they usually leave pesa hivi hivi. So it is a bit complicated, but my few comments may assist when others also in future comes up with other information. Kidogo kidogo ujaza kibaba.